Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, we're
Hey,
live, bro.
look at that. We're live on both platforms at the same time. Crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy
dude,
that happens,
our
man. Crazy.
syncopation is really second to none.
I know,
Um,
man. That click rate.
that click rate, dude. That's exactly it. I meant to tell you this. I actually got another person hooked on 20 somethings. I'm really proud of it.
Hey, that's awesome.
I know.
Hey, back to the 20 somethings gang, man.
Man, they gotta bring back a season 2, bro. I gotta
I
know how
know they
things
gotta
wrapped
get it.
up.
They gotta get a season 2, man.
I gotta know how things wrapped up, bro.
I know.
If you haven't watched 20 somethings,
On the Netflix.
I don't want to say you're missing out. But as far as those type of shows go, you're missing out for sure.
Yeah, man.
It's like a lot of drama, but it's like authentic at the same time. I don't know. It didn't really feel like it was, produced necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it
know?
didn't feel like there was a producer back in the background, like, hey, you should go talk to this person and blah blah blah. Did you know
Right.
that this person was, talking behind your back? It was like
Yeah.
normal people for the most part.
Yeah,
It
because
felt like
even when I thought like, oh, this chick just went to this dude's bedroom just to talk because the producers told them to, right? And then I was like, but at the end of it, they became best friends. And I was
yeah.
like, oh, okay. So no, that was probably real then. Man,
Mm-hmm.
20 something is a bop, dude. If you haven't checked it out,
Mm-hmm.
10 out of
It's
10
good.
recommendation.
It is. It
So
is. It's good TV. It's good kind of nothing TV, but
it's
it's not
definitely
like trashy. It's
yeah.
it's not trashy TV. I feel like that's what we need to have more of. Bring back the nothing TV that's not trashy. Because I feel
I
like now we just have trashy TV.
bro, I feel this. Okay, I said something similar to you, I'm pretty sure, about
Hmm.
video games. Bring back the mindless video games, right? Because all the
Hmm.
first person shooters, like that's not relaxing to me. I'm not hating on the games, but I'm saying like in an effort to relax kind of standpoint, like I'm not gonna play Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I
You
mean?
can pick up some Apex. It's kind of fun. And it's fast.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
slightly less frustrating sometimes.
Right now, my favorite game to relax to, just unwind,
Hmm.
is 8 Ball with Denson over the text messages.
That's true. That is a relaxing game, man. That is a relaxing game.
Dude, I don't know why. I honestly am curious if I'm annoying you with it because I actually
Mm-mm.
genuinely enjoy that game. I'm not gonna
No,
lie.
I enjoy it as well. I just
Yeah.
forget that, since I don't have an iPad, I forget that I don't have I forget that I have to get my iPad out. And
Oh,
a lot of
right.
times it's on the charger or something like that.
Yeah. So another, if you didn't know, is that pretty much built into iOS text messaging is an app called Game Pigeon, but you still have to download the app, so you wouldn't know it's there if you didn't download it. I went years
Mhm.
without knowing that was an option until Dennison tried to play me in some stuff. I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna download some app and go spam things, blah blah. He's like, bro, it's built in. Like, I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, we've been playing 8 Ball on there, which honestly,
Mhm.
dude, that's a little risky of a name. I'm not gonna lie.
It is. It
Oh,
is. But hey.
8 Ball. Oh, okay. All right.
Well, there's
But
a 9 ball too, so
yeah. Yeah. Which I don't even know how that one would work. But
it's you're getting them in the number order.
oh yeah,
So
dude,
you're
that'd be
going
crazy.
from 1 to 8, I think, or 9. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Oh no. Oh, I thought we lost you for a second. There we are. Okay.
No, we're
Yeah.
good.
So no, yeah, I think that'd be fun. But anyway, those are kind of those are the games we've been playing, dude. Which is funny. But we're up here on a Friday night live stream, which is awesome. Um, and we are glad that you guys are joining us for this one. We got some cool things we want to talk about.
Mhm.
Mainly the thing that everyone's talking about right now. All right, here we go. I had to make sure you weren't going to see any notifications I didn't want to share yet. Um, the new iOS, man. The new
Mhm.
iOS 16.
Yeah,
I
iOS
downloaded it.
15 and the new phones too. Don't forget them.
The new phones, the iPhone 14s, lest we
Mhm.
forget, would have matched up if Apple didn't skip over 9 and then go straight to 10, but also not have a 2. Um,
I
and
think your
then
argument's kind of breaking down a little bit.
and then have a 6, but then a 6S, and then a 7, then an 8, and then an 8 plus. Anyway, yeah. It doesn't match up at all. But
Mhm.
the point is, we're going to talk about these updates. I kind of downloaded it on a whim, and
Mhm.
honestly, I'm overwhelmed with all the things that are available to me. I do know one thing that you can do is apparently you can pull a subject out of a photo, like just straight up Photoshop crop them right then and there.
Oh yeah, no, you can do that.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
I want to try it.
Well, I mean, I'd say you can do. It depends on the specific Android brand, but I know like Pixels, they allow you to do that easily. You just
Really,
mark it and then bam, you can pop it out easy.
feature a person less. Feature less of. I just took this photo with Blake the other day.
Hmm.
Feature this person less. Never feature this person.
Yeah, see, that's they stole that straight from Pixel, because last
Oh,
year, Pixel had the same type of deal where you could just if someone's in the photo or something's in the photo, they at the time Google called it Magic Eraser, uh,
yeah,
and you could just erase someone out of a photo or something
that's
similar to
wild.
that, and
See,
then
what
just
this was actually trying to do is feature them less in like slideshows or memories or all those things that pop up.
mm, okay.
That's all it's trying to do, which I think is still handy. But honestly, if I were to do that with
Mhm.
somebody in my own photo camera roll, I just delete the photo. You know what I
True.
mean?
Very true. But
I'm
hey,
like,
maybe you want to still have that photo for sentimental reasons, but
right,
uh,
right, right.
at least you won't see it as much, right?
Apparently, yeah. I don't know how
Apple,
to
good
do
old
this.
Apple will hide it for you.
Yeah, classic crapple, dude. Um, Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do this because I swear that's what I read and may have totally misunderstood it. But anyway, there's a number of features that we want to go through and discuss,
Hmm.
um, which is really exciting. And then I know too that this just came out. The U.S. Treasury is recommending exploring digital currency, something we've been on the forefront of since 2018. Man,
Yeah, man.
talked about crypto before it was cool. You know, I have this before we get into the recording here. I have that good, clean Ethereum t-shirt that I used
Hmm.
to wear all the time, right? Right now I'm wearing a tank top because there's only so many more days I can get away with wearing a tank top.
Yeah, it's gonna get cold.
It's gonna get cold, man. I'm gonna miss it. Even though I am wearing white after Labor Day. That's a red flag. Um oh god.
Daredevil, you.
I know. Daredevil, dude. Well, nah. I anyway, never mind. I got nerdy there for a second. So yeah, no, I want to talk about oh yeah, anyway, that shirt. Sorry. That
Hmm.
shirt is so cool, man. It looks like the Dark Side of the Moon album cover by Pink Floyd, but it has the Ethereum logo in the middle of it instead of the triangle.
Hmm.
Anyway, I don't even wear that shirt anymore because people are just gonna think I'm a freaking poser, a crypto bro that just like saw the surge last year and was like, "Oh, I gotta get involved to get me some Doge, man," you know. And
Nah,
I'm like,
man, I think right now is the perfect time because nobody wants freaking Ethereum. They're changing up how Ethereum works anyway. So,
I
you
know,
know,
isn't that a good thing though?
it is technically, but I'm just saying, like, no one wants to be. I mean, I feel like only specific people are going to be in Ethereum now. It's not. It's less of a like a deal where people are going to jump on and be like, "Yeah, man, it's all about that ether."
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Ethereum going to the moon, man. We riding it to the moon, man. But yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
people, yeah, a whole bunch of people got on the crypto train last year, and they did it back in like 2017 too. That's partly what led to me doing it. But that's
Mhm.
only because I just found out what it was, the validity of it. Um, But man, for like a good long while, people sitting around, oh yeah, dude, I got some Doge, man, and oh, you invest in Ether, dude? That's cool. Yeah, blah blah. Like, have no idea what they're talking about, like at all. So then they all lost money, and you don't hear people talk about crypto anymore, dude.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They
Uh,
jumped off, man.
so funny. So anyway, now we're looking at developing a digital currency for our country, which we would not be the first one to do that. If I remember, South Korea was the first one to do that.
I
Um,
believe so. I believe
yeah,
so.
yep. Yeah, pretty awesome, honestly. But I think this is a big step forward. I think this is a much needed thing. I think this is
Mm-hmm.
something that if we don't do it now, we're not going to do it for probably 30 years and going to be way behind
Yep. Yep.
by the time
Yeah.
we
No, you're
do
right.
it. So
But it
we
has to
want,
be done right.
well, yeah, and we can talk about that too, what that
Mm-hmm.
looks like for it to be done right. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. There's a bug right up there.
Uh-oh. Don't move.
No, I'm not
Let's
going to worry about it.
interfere.
He wants to make a cameo. Yeah, since my feet. Oh, it's too soon for spooky season, bro. If he wants to attack, he can attack. If he wants to get a cameo, he can get a cameo. If he wants to
He
get
wants
popped,
to
he
be
can get
featured
popped.
on the. He just wants to be featured, man. Wants
I
to be
know.
featured on the pod.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Honestly.
I
In
know.
fact, if you're watching the live stream right now, go ahead and drop in the comments if you want to be featured on an upcoming episode of the Catch Up Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Literally,
Let us
all of
know.
our audience was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So, uh, all right, here we go. Let's go ahead and slap right into it. Oh my God, this is actually the same bug that was just chilling inside my lamp. I thought it was dead. I was going to scoop it out tonight.
Oh well, there you
No,
go.
he ain't dead yet. Vampire
Nope.
bug. All right, here we
He's
go.
chilling.
He's chilling, man. 3, 2, 1. Man, so have you seen this? That the Biden administration is pushing for a central bank digital currency, right? So
Mm-hmm.
essentially, I think the average crypto bro would call that cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah.
Um, it would be called the digital dollar. And I think it's important. The goal here for them, they say, and this is brand new, by the way. This just came out the day we're recording this.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal is to help reinforce the U.S. as the world financial leader, which we still are, but we're quickly losing ground on as inflation gets worse, um, as trade deficits happen, things like that. As we become more dependent on ourselves rather than others.
Yep. Yep.
So I
Yeah.
think
We
it's a
can.
really big move. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I have some thoughts on it, but I want to know, what your thoughts are on this and um, why it could be a really good asset for us.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean. I think it's a great way. I think it's kind of a twofold deal, right? It's a good way for us to have an opportunity to solidify the U.S. dollar, right, as the digital dollar, as a world currency, right, um, for cryptocurrencies, or at least for digital currencies. So it,
Right.
it has the opportunity of that because it has the backing of the United States and stuff like that. If done right, I think it can really go really well on that. Um, because I think, like you said before, right, we with inflation, with a lot of trade issues and stuff like that, the dollar's stability as the world currency is still kind of is it's still relatively solid, but there are some shaking, or there's some cracks showing up in the foundation, so to speak. So I think us moving over, or at least creating a digital dollar, kind of helps maybe reinforce that, saying like,
Yep.
"Hey, see, not other these other currencies, right? while they may have certain attributes that are a little bit better, now we have something that is also reinforced with a digital currency too, so that way it can be used in two different marketplaces to be able to, you know, facilitate the same means. So,
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think that this is a really good, exciting thing. Also, I want to say you'll have to apologize I would like to apologize for my snuffleupagus action. This is turn.
mhm.
It is peak fall allergy season here in Kansas, and as we know, Wichita is ranked number one for worst fall allergies. So here we are.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this because I think that the world is going more and more digital, right? And
Mhm.
here's the thing. So I um, pay very often with my Apple Wallet. You know, what I mean, rarely, and more and more places are getting as many as there are up here, which there's a lot, as many as there are up here in Wichita. I'm sure there's so many more in Dallas that you can just
Oh yeah.
pay on your phone, you know? Um, so I really like that. I think that that's a big thing to me. One thing I would like to see is um, I'd like to see them put on gas pumps because it's harder to hack, you know, with that.
Well, they actually do have that on
See,
some
we
gas
don't.
pumps.
Yeah, we don't. In fact,
Hmm.
interestingly enough, we've had these at Quick Trip where it's supposed to be the RFID chip reader.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for your credit card, it's never worked. They've never
Oh,
worked.
really?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
they've
See,
never.
I've had those, and they do for the small amount of times that they actually had them in there, and I still had to go to the gas station. Um, it started to work for
Yeah,
me because I remember when they first put them in, they're like, "It's coming soon," and it was like a
right.
year later, and then
Yep.
it's like, "Oh, good, they actually work now."
Exactly right. Yeah.
um, but I mean, the times when it did, you know, when it actually was available and stuff like that, it did seem to work. But that's what's surprising. It's surprising that it's
Yeah.
like still
Yeah.
not working fully for you guys.
So let me ask you this though,
Mm,
because this is where my question would arise on this. If we were to unveil a digital version of the US dollar, right? Why is that any different than me using my Apple Wallet? Why is that any different from transferring money through Venmo or Cash App? Um, and why is that an important thing? We've talked about this that the U.S. would not be the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
mm-hmm.
Trying to verify that real quick. I don't see anything yet. I'll see if I can though. But I do believe I remember South Korea coming up with its own digital currency, and I think it was the first country to do that.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah, I mean
thought
what
so too.
yeah. Um but why wouldn't those other apps just work? You know, Venmo,
Mm-hmm.
Cash App, just using Apple Wallet to draw straight from your bank, you know?
Well, that's the thing though. It's less of using the applications, right? Because all the applications are doing is just facilitating the process of that transaction, right?
Yeah.
But what the currency is doing is giving another avenue in which the actual U.S. currency is able to play in. Right, this digital dollar would essentially be playing in the realms of sort of the cryptocurrency type
Mm,
stuff,
sure.
and it if done in a certain way, there could be a possibility of still retaining some of the things that you can't get right with um, with your regular dollar, right?
Mm.
Such as like the anonymity. Apparently, that's a hard word for me.
It is hard.
Um, uh, that you get with cryptocurrency, right? Now, of course, you can in some way still trace it, but it becomes a lot harder when it's a digital type currency. And
Right.
so I believe that you can kind of get that portion of it. Plus, if it is using blockchain technology, there's a couple of other features that you can use that can also take out, say, the middleman, right? Of, say, like the banks or whatever like that,
Yeah.
because you can store it in a different manner. So I think that's kind of some of the benefits that you get, other than just using your regular money that you have, because that is the hard part to think about, right? Because technically, right, most of the money that we spend nowadays with, with a debit card or a credit card or whatever like that, in all these applications, are technically speaking digital money, because it's not, there's no physical item that is being traded for another item, right? I
Yeah.
don't go into every store with $100 bill and say, like, here you go,
Right.
and then I get whatever I need or whatever.
Right.
I have my credit card, or I have my debit card, or I have whatever, um, and there is no actual form there. But uh, I think this just gives it another easier way for transferring of these funds without having to have physical paper notes to denote the value or stuff like that.
Does that more rapidly benefit the U.S. economy then? You know what I
Apparently,
mean?
my bird decided to come out, but uh,
It's like a little slinky shooting out.
yeah, I would say, I think yes.
Okay.
Um, I think it has a benefit of being able to maybe, um, if created in a way to where there's more of a limited supply, right? It can have an opportunity to help slow down inflation, right? Because, say, if there's a fixed number of digital, I don't know, dollars or whatever like that that you can have, then that means that the amount of it, right, is finite, and then that also means that um, the prices of that currency stay relatively stable,
Yeah.
as opposed to technically how the US dollar is, right? And a lot of paper currencies is that it can literally be printed more. We can print more. We can print as much money as we technically need. Um,
Sure.
but that does have problems of inflation, or it can cause inflation.
Sure. Sure. So to add on to what Denson was saying here, um, this is a central bank digital currency, is what this would be called, and it is different than a cryptocurrency.
Mm,
So it's not decentralized. It is a centralized bank, like we've discussed.
mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, the goal is to improve the efficiency of payments and financial inclusion, um, and reduce the risks associated with using cash. That's kind of funny because I will say this: I made on a Wednesday night doing solo acoustic stuff. I made um, over $50 in tips. I did that again on Thursday night, solo acoustic, over $50 in tips. And only $15 of that from one person was digital.
Mm,
You know, all the rest of it was flat cash. And that's the thing, areas like this, areas like the Midwest, areas that aren't major urban populations,
mm-hmm.
are going to be slower to adopt
Yep.
using digital transactions, But yeah, so the Bahamas was actually the first country to launch a digital currency in
Mm,
just
interesting.
October 2020, not that long ago. It's called the Sand Dollar, really cool name for that.
Yeah.
Uh, and let's see, it's pegged to the Bahamian dollar. It's hard to say. It can be used for both domestic and international transactions. Other places, other places that fully rolled this out include Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
7 Eastern Caribbean Union countries like Antigua, Barbuda, all these other places. Basically, the
Mm-hmm.
entire Beach Boys song. Um, and Aruba, Jamaica, yeah. And so yeah, apparently China wants to get involved in this, Taiwan, India, Europe,
Mm-hmm.
or the European Union, I should say. But that is another aspect of this too, is those easy country to country transactions.
Yep.
Um, that would
Yep.
take cryptocurrencies like Ripple out of the occasion, because that was the idea, is easy international transactions with those. Um,
Exactly. So that way you don't have to do any conversion.
yeah,
Um,
and that's why these smaller countries are so eager to roll that out, because they want you to be able to spend their money, right?
well, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it
and it
is
and if there are smaller countries that are closer too, it just makes it easier for people who are moving between them.
exactly, that's why it was all those Caribbean Union countries, but which I didn't know there was a Caribbean Union, to be honest. But
Yeah.
imagine being in Nigeria, right? I think we
Mm-hmm.
all have this mental image of Nigeria, and uh, you go to Nigeria and you have a full-on digital currency you can use, right? But we
Mm-hmm.
don't in the United States. you know, it is the way of the future. There are definite benefits to it. I think it's a great idea. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we wanted to talk about that real quick, but we want to jump into our main topic, iOS 14. Wait, I keep getting this flipped around.
You sure you got that right? I mean,
iPhone
there
14.
is something with a 14 in there,
So I
but
figured it out, turns
yeah.
out. Or it's my IQ, because I can't remember this. Um, iPhone 14, iOS 16,
Mm-hmm.
and the new features thereof. There's a lot to break down. There's a lot of, as there usually is with a major iOS update,
Mm-hmm.
controversy to discuss. Um, and we have a lot we want to talk about, man.
Yeah,
So
man.
let's go ahead and get into it.
Let's do it. You good, bro?
Not really, man. Oh god. Ah, sorry,
Them
live stream.
allergies are beating you up, man.
I'm getting them
Apparently,
bad. I'm
they are
down
beating you
bad.
up.
I'm down bad, bro. Look at these. Look at these watering eyes, bro.
I'm not gonna lie though, allergies have started to get me as well.
yeah.
They've yeah, it usually affects most of my allergies usually affect my eyes and stuff. So I
Yeah.
usually get all itchy. My eyes
It's
get itchy.
right here. I can feel it. It's right there.
Oof.
That's where it all is.
All
oh,
that pressure, man.
oh, man, it's just like this weird tickling thing going on my nose. Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, I hate that.
I know. I know. I hate it too. I might. I don't know, man. Could you hold down the fort for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Cool. I'll be right back, folks.
Yeah, yeah. Right back with after these messages from me. As John's going and alleviating his nose situation, I want to talk about. Uh, I want to do a quick little update. Since I've switched over to an electric vehicle, um, and some of the kind of weird things that I've encountered and kind of interesting things that I've seen. One thing is that it's really weird not having to go to a gas station. Although funny enough, I still do go to a gas station. I go to one for a car wash because something that I learned from buying a Tesla is that um, the Tesla paint is at least from what I've learned, at least from other Tesla owners, is that it tends to be kind of soft. It's a softer paint that they use. And so that means that, going through certain car washes, right? Some of the automated car washes that you would drive your car through, or the car would just roll, or the you'd be on a conveyor belt and it kind of rolls you through. It's not best to do that because it'll leave swirl marks in the paint and stuff. So now, of course, a good detailing can always kind of fix. I shouldn't say always, but can fix a lot of those. But not everybody's going to be able to do a detail on their car. But anyway, all that being said, I actually go to a gas station with a touchless wash, which is actually what Tesla recommends from their um, from their stuff. So I do a touchless wash. It goes around the car. It puts all the water and all the max and all the good stuff. It's nice. It's nice. Um, there are some stuff. The wash that I go to, the touchless wash that I go to, um, doesn't really do a great job of drying my car. So I kind of always, when I'm going to go wash my car, I always have like a towel with me so I can kind of wipe it down. But other than that, it's been pretty fun. Um, Still love the acceleration. I think that's still probably one of my favorite things about that car. Um, that I have just really enjoyed. There's no wind up. It just goes, which is really nice, and it gets you out of like sticky situations. Um, but yeah, I mean, other than that, it's surprisingly easy. Or I've found that there are certain parts of it that have been parts of the transition. I mean, that have been surprisingly easy. Going from not having to go to a gas station or whatever like that. As long as I plug my car in, for the most part, I never really have to worry about range stuff. I actually have there's been very few times that I've actually had range anxiety with my car. Um, but I really haven't had it too many times, and most of the time I'm good to go. So that's been nice. I just plug it up like I plug my phone in. And I find that since my normal commute, I can, for the most part, I can go around town or even just do my normal things and not plug my car up for, I'll drain it all the way down to 20% where I usually charge it up to 80. Um, but I can essentially do that, right? For about a week and a half, depending on what I'm doing. Depending on certain things, I could probably even wait even longer to where it's like a 2 weeks, which is really nice. And then at that point, it's around the same cadence that I would do for filling up my car. Now, of course, it does take a little bit longer, right? But um, when I'm doing that overnight, it doesn't really matter. So that I haven't really found any issues where with that. And I think one of the other big myths that a lot of people keep finding out about, and it's so weird that for like electric vehicles we're so focused on like range, right? How many miles can it go? But when you really think about it, you don't think the same way with a powered car, right? You don't say like, how many miles can my gas pack in my car go? I just go until I need to fill up. And I do understand a lot of it is because of a time factor, right? It's going to take X amount of time for me to have to fill up my. It doesn't take that long for me to fill up my car, right? I could plug it in, or I could, go to the gas station, fill it up, 5 minutes, I'm out, right? Where with an electric vehicle, depending on where you are, it can take longer. Um, anyway, I mean where you are in the battery range, but anyway, um, but don't I don't look at the range anymore. Like I don't actually look at like mileage, I should say. I just look at percentage, like my phone. I look at my
That's
my phone percentage, and that's it. Set it and forget it. Because it's just like if you were to look at miles in our cars, right, or in our ICE vehicles, internal combustion vehicles. If you look at that range thing that your car will display, it'll usually say like, "Oh, you've got 200 something miles" or something like that. But that it's probably not going to be exactly that. It's the estimate is off or something similar to that. So,
sure.
um, so yeah, I just turned it to battery percentage. Never think about it ever again, and I actually find that a lot of the range anxiety kind of goes away after that as well. So,
It's a good idea.
yeah,
Good idea.
very pleased.
Yeah, man. Well, I left you guys with Denison for 5 minutes, and we went on a full tangent about electric cars.
Just an update about like stuff that I have to deal with. So
No, I know. I'm giving you a hard time, of course. We really should actually do an episode, a full episode on an update on that. I think that'd be a really good one. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
living
it'd be
with
fun.
living with a electric car for however many months now.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that'd be great. Yeah, but no, of course, I was just giving you a hard time. My nose is completely cleared out now, so I think we'll be all right to move.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, I look like Andrew Garfield in Spider Man right now. I don't know if it's all if it's going on. Anyway, okay, let's go ahead and get into it. Three,
Mhm.
2, 1. What's going on, everybody? I'm John,
And I'm Dennison.
and this is the catch up. Oh man,
Oh man,
yeah,
look at that.
yeah.
Moving on.
Oh, duck and weave, man. Well, busting like a bee. Uh, oh man, my nose, dude. I was trying so hard not to sneeze halfway through that gig last night because it was outside. So
Mhm.
I'd be singing, I'd be like, you know, it was so stupid, and didn't fail, which is nice.
That's
Um,
good. That's good.
yeah,
I'm
no,
sure you got a couple laughs though out of the
hopefully no
face.
one was. Not that one, dude. That was just a dinner one. No one was even paying attention to my existence.
Okay, okay. They're too busy eating.
Yeah, too busy eating, man. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Before we get into this week's topic, I want to remind you guys the three best ways to support us. Number one, jump on the live stream with us. We're live streaming on Facebook and on our YouTube channel right now. You can get involved in real time, have a discussion with us, leave a comment on the live stream. We will react to it in real time. We love what this opportunity provides. We love having this two-way conversation about whatever topic we're tackling that week. Um, the number two way, leave a rating and a review, and let us know what you think of each episode. It helps us know, helps us grow, and it helps the algorithm show our episodes to more people. So that would really help us out. The third best way, if you want to support us financially, hit the link to our website. It is temporarily held over on Etsy.com right now. So if you want to find all of our merchant apparel in one place, go to that website. You find our Etsy, which is not a phrase I thought I'd say too often. And you can find some good, clean hoodies, t-shirts, um, phone cases, and so much more. So
Mhm.
check that out. It's those are the three best ways to support the show, so we can keep doing what we do. Um, okay, so iOS 16
Yeah.
came out this week. iPhone 14 orders started shipping out this week. Um, do we want to start with the hardware or the software?
We can start with the hardware, and then
Okay,
that kind of will bleed into the software that's on the phones of the new hardware. See,
I like that. I like that. It's well
yeah,
thought
there you
out.
go. Uh huh.
So, the iPhone 14, I have not yet noticed much of what's different about it. I know we were
Hmm.
discussing earlier that the camera, the front facing camera placement, is moved slightly.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
this
only on the Pro. Only on the
only on the
Pro.
Pro. Okay. Okay.
Yes, the
Well,
regular one, the regular 14,
mhm,
only had still has the notch.
cool. Okay. So that's weird. Is the Pro bigger? Is it still big?
Um, Sort of. I mean, there's an I so there's a so just jumping into it, right? There's three iPhone models, right? You've got the iPhone 14. There's the iPhone 14 Plus, and then there is actually four. Sorry, and then there's the iPhone 14 Pro, and then there's the iPhone 14 Pro Max.
Yeah.
Mouthful. um,
Okay. Pro
uh,
Max.
the Yeah, so the 14 is actually shipping to customers now. The 14 Plus is going to be, I think it's a month later is when it'll start shipping. So it's a little interesting that they're going to do that. But Apple does claim that that's going to have buku battery life.
Okay. That's important.
It is important.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's and then the iPhone 14 Pro. Pro and Pro Max, um, that's where all your good features are going. So easy way to sum up to it, right? iPhone 14, pretty much the iPhone 13 with better cameras, like
Oh yeah,
always.
like always. How much better can the camera get at this point?
I mean, I'll
Pretty
say
soon it's
that.
just gonna transport you there. You're just gonna wake up and be like, "Whoa!"
Exactly. It's gonna throw you every time you look at the photo, you just get thrown onto the spot and then you get
Yeah,
pushed
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah. That'd be cool. I'd get that
Yeah.
phone.
Hey, that'd be pretty neat. That'd be pretty neat. But yeah, you got super better cameras, right? I mean, to be honest, really and truly, if you're buying an iPhone 14 and you had, say, the regular iPhone 13, you'll move up to the cameras that you got and that you could have gotten in the iPhone 13 Pro. That's the easiest way to think about it. They
Yeah,
took the Pro cameras from the iPhone 13 and moved them into or iPhone 13 Pro, gosh darn, and moved it into 14. So that's pretty much it. It's just you're missing one camera, but it's the better upgrade of the other two.
sure. And I'm looking at this, and the thing I'm
Hmm.
seeing is even the Washington Post says the iPhone 14 is for those who haven't upgraded their phones in 4 years.
I mean, they're not wrong. They're not
Yeah,
wrong.
because they showed that really back to the 11, not much has changed except cameras and battery life.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
um,
Exactly.
if you're using this is who it's not for. If you're using an iPhone 12 or newer, wait for the next patch. That's literally what it says.
Yeah.
Um, so have
That's probably when you'll see the
eSIMs
next redesign.
right. So have eSIMs been available before the iPhone 14?
Yes, they have. They have
Okay,
been available. It's Apple's had this for a lot of their products, not just the iPhone, but it's also like you could get it for their iPads and stuff like that. But it's just the US models of the iPhone 14 and 14 Pro that you are forced to use eSIMs.
gotcha.
There are no, there is no like regular SIM card for it.
So what's the benefit with that? Why would you have an eSIM for those who don't know is embedded? It's your SIM card. It's how you obviously connect with your wireless provider, and
Hmm.
uh, but it's embedded on all the new phones in the phone, so you can't take it out and swap it to your next one, right?
Hmm.
So what's the benefit there?
Um, let's see. I mean, I guess technically you can say one of the benefits is that you gain that space, right? The iPhone 14 gains that small extra space that you get from not having a SIM card tray.
Okay.
Um, so the internals have more room to breathe, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
uh, the other is that it can be a semi easy process when it comes to activating your iPhone on your particular carrier. Now, that does come with an asterisk by saying like it can be easier, but it can also be a little bit harder, just kind of depending on how things go. Um,
Yeah.
it does allow you to have a little bit more flexibility um, when it comes to like carriers and how fast you can get your phone activated and stuff like that. You may be a little bit easier for you to swap carriers a little bit faster instead of having to wait for like a SIM card and all sorts of other stuff. Or if they don't have a SIM card, like some Verizon, I think a lot of Verizon phones don't have SIM cards.
Right. I
So
also saw too that it makes it easier. Like you can buy the phone straight from Apple, like a lot of
yeah,
people have done, and it's already
and it comes
activated by the time.
activated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
So there are some pros and there's some cons for it, for sure. I think it is an interesting move, though.
yeah, so I mean, obviously the camera is better. I'm not gonna lie. On
Hmm.
this, it's really hard for me to tell how much better it is on my screen, um, which is
You
kind of
know,
funny.
yeah. I mean,
But
it's a if you were to see it in person, it's like a thicker camera bump, but
yeah,
that's about it.
let's talk about the dynamic island real quick.
Yeah,
When
yeah, that's the big one, right? It's because it's you've got your pill shaped cutout instead of a notch now, right? Like what
right there,
John has. Yep.
yep, a
So
notch.
if you're a big baller, right? You get the iPhone 14 Pro, you get the Big Daddy, you get a pill now. But Apple calls it,
Lower, a little
yeah,
bit lower.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
little bit lower. There's no connection, right?
Yeah,
And Apple calls it the dynamic island. The reason why they do that is because it has the ability to take on a lot of the information that, say, you would have in the notification, right? The notification shade. Um, it has the ability to take on a lot of that information there and plop it in like that camera housing spot around around where the camera is, around where all those sensors are.
dude.
And it also makes it gives you the ability to kind of do really cool multitasking things.
Yeah,
Um, it's for sure a feature that you really want to. It's cool when you're using it, but it's one of those that's kind of harder to describe.
it is. So it's described by the Washington Post as a shape-shifting blob that
Yes.
covers the camera hole in the screen. So this is actually, I love this idea. Um,
Hmm.
it'll show you what music's playing.
Hmm.
It could be a timer or a stopwatch, which I love. As far as leaving my phone, well, for example, when I'm working out, maybe I need to send a text in between sets, but I don't want to sacrifice how long I've taken in between sets, and so I
Hmm.
have that timer in that little blob area, um, continuing to show me how much time it's been while I, text or do whatever. Dennison's trying to show you. There's the blob. If you're on the live stream, there you go. Oh, that's
You can
cool.
see exactly what it looks like. Yeah. Yeah. You'll be
Airdrop,
able to see all the cool stuff.
right? It's basically a widget. It's like a widget.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
a shape shifting widget. That's cool.
Exactly.
Um, so the actual hardware of it obviously doesn't change. What Apple did was make the iOS work around this blob or
Exactly.
this cutout, I guess you could say. Um, which is really cool. I like that. All
Hmm.
day battery life, it says. They've said that since the iPhone 7, bro.
They have. They have.
They really have. All day battery life. That's what a laugh
Hmm.
that is.
But with this though, you do get something that Android, I just have to say, has had for a while, which is the always on display.
Yes.
Um,
And Android, my my Lenovo tablet will do that,
mm,
I think. Are we
really?
talking about the same thing?
So essentially, what it is instead of um, instead of you'd be on your lock screen, right? And instead of on your iPhone, it just goes black normally.
Yeah.
But with the always on display, uh, it just essentially dims your screen to where all you now see is information, kind of like what you see here, which is the time. You get a little bit more information. Some notification stuff might pop up here,
Yeah.
but
Which those are
yeah,
widgets. Those are widgets that they have right there.
yeah.
Um my $150 Lenovo tablet does that.
Yeah. Well, it's as I said, it's something that the iPhone has had, or not the iPhone, but Android has had for quite a while. But
Right.
it's uh, it's just another way that Apple has changed. As you can see right here, there's a great little example, right? Oh, well, I guess I gotta go away. You gotta put the phone away, right? and then you got to
Right.
come back to it. So see, it went down to the. This is what you would see if you had one, and it would do the always on display. So just a little bit more information. It's not super cool, or it's not. I don't. It's interesting, right? It's something that has been there, so it's less of a cool feature for me um, since I've had it for a while. But yeah, that
Well,
is something new for new users.
I feel like it's kind of a joke. Um, I don't know. To promote, okay, it's not necessarily a joke, but to promote that as one of your main new features for your new
Hmm.
phone, that's kind of a joke, man. Like, so the idea here is that you can leave it on a nightstand, you can leave it wherever. It's always on. It's kind of like a clock. You can have it be
Hmm.
your clock. And it has reportedly very low impact on your battery life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. But again, it's not that big of a deal. And to be honest, what I tend to do with my phone is prop it up against one of my studio monitors here, and I'll
Hmm.
just leave it leaning like that. Anytime I just look over at it, and it recognizes my face, and I see what the notification was. Right.
Hmm.
This is not a life changing feature. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of a joke. And also, it's only on the pro models. So this is what I'm
Yeah,
gathering
that's
from
true.
this. Much like, okay, and if you got the iPhone 11, 12, 13, or now 14, there's really not much difference at all between any of them. Of course, you have an updated processor. You always have an updated processor,
Yeah, of
but
course.
and that helps. That helps because the iOS continues to ask more, and then the apps continue to ask more because they're trying to keep up with the iOS process, all that. But man, for me, those phones, the I guess you'd call them entry level ones, which are still $1,000. Or no,
Oh
wait,
no,
sorry, they're
they're
seven
eight
ninety nine.
and yeah, 7.99 is where you're starting at it,
Yeah.
depending on
So
which one you go for. I think it's 8.99 if you jump to the 14 plus.
right. So the point with that, I mean, there's no point to update it. If you update it from an iPhone 11 to an iPhone 14 Pro, you'd be like, "Holy crap, my whole world has changed!" Right?
Yep,
Um,
exactly. Everything's changed. I've jumped, super levels.
but if you went from an iPhone 13 Pro to an iPhone 14 Pro, I feel like it'd be the same thing. It wouldn't be much of a change, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. No, you're right. It'd be for sure a negligible change.
See, okay, so that's interesting actually. So you're scrolling through so go, yeah, maybe I should just pull this up on my end. 48 megapixel main camera, that's amazing.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
quad pixel
First time
sensor.
that it's changed for iOS or for iPhones and stuff like that. Again, Android's had that for a while, but hey, you know,
What do you mean the
everybody
first
can
time?
catch up. So for the past, I don't know, while it's been like couple it's been like 5 or 6 iPhones. They haven't changed from a 12 megapixel camera,
Yeah,
main
yeah,
camera.
yeah, yes.
So that's what I
But
mean.
yeah. So you're on Apple's website here checking this out?
Yep, I am.
Um, so yeah, if you guys want to take a closer look at this for yourself, then definitely do so. Um, but see, the thing is, so 4 times the resolution, it's still a small screen. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, and and this is my thing. So I'm looking at this right now. There were some features that you went by that I thought were actually more important, but they don't. And we've said this. We talked about this before with the iPhone, where it felt like they Apple doesn't really, you know, exploit what they should. Like this. Think of the
Hmm.
ads they could run with this. Crash detection calls for help when you can. It looks like you've been in a crash. That's amazing. It's actually kind of mind blowing. They haven't had that feature already, to be honest.
Hmm.
But that to me is huge. That is awesome.
Yeah,
You
this is
know?
also another one. the emergency SOS for satellite.
Via satellite?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's essentially yeah, the new iPhone has satellite connectivity. So um, essentially, what would happen is, you know, if you're remote in the forest and you need help or something like that, and you have no service, you can align yourself with a satellite to be able to send out a message to emergency responders, and then those emergency responders will be able to tell you where, or will be able to get that information and get help out to you.
And see, my thing, you can't tell me that people wouldn't be intrigued by that. You can't tell me
Hmm.
that. They literally, to me, man, like they market the new iPhones to like Gen Z, you know, like
Hmm.
they literally market it, and we used to be that when we were Gen X or Gen Y,
Well,
sorry,
yeah.
when we were young. Um,
Hmm.
but they I swear that's what they do. They market it to teens, early 20s, thinking of what they would be most interested in. But,
Hmm.
you know, low light photos, that's what is most impressive to me is the improvement upon that.
Hmm.
Um, 24 frames per second with 4K HDR, that's amazing on a small little phone. That's amazing,
Hmm.
you know. Um, but you really have to get into the nitty gritty to understand because the average person is going to be like, oh, you know, um, new processor, A16 Bionic. Man, this thing should be able to make its own decisions, it sounds like. But, you know, longer battery, um, a new dynamic island, uh,
Yeah, exactly.
and then upgrade phone or upgrade camera. Like that's all the average person is going to see. And to me, looking at this, bro, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. The crash protection, this is what's a beautiful thing about iPhones and smartphones in general. They take the
Hmm.
need out of so much, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you know, in theory, um, well, so you don't need a GPS, right?
No.
You don't need a satellite phone if you go off the grid, you know, or
Yeah.
whatever. You're always going to have access to emergency calls. That is huge. And I mean, people are off the grid if they go anywhere outside of the city that they live in. They're off the grid more often than they think they are. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, when we went on a camping trip several years ago that took us through Wyoming, almost that entire stretch of highway, we had almost no cell service at all.
Hmm.
In fact, if I remember right, it wasn't far from where that whole what was that chick's name? The
Hmm.
YouTuber that got killed by her boyfriend, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that.
I
I think
think
we
we
did
drove.
report on that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we drove by that area where that happened. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, there was no cell reception out there, like none, you know. And so, like, this happens all the time anywhere that's outside of the 10 biggest cities in the US, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key feature. I'm obviously very passionate about it, and I think if they would just explain more of this up front, why you want this, they got to upgrade privacy features. They're going carbon neutral by 2030, just like we've
Hmm.
talked about Formula One doing by
Hmm.
2030. Um, I will say, and this is the thing in mind, most of these features I'm jacked about, you got to get the pro model. You have
Yep.
to get the pro model.
Exactly. That's
So,
usually how it is. If you want the latest and greatest of Apple's innovation, you have to pay the most,
yep,
which kind of
23.
is out of reach for most people.
Yeah. iPhone Pro, 23 hours of video playback on a single charge. That's pretty amazing.
Hmm.
Video playback. But you're right. You're right. I mean, and that's the thing. So let's see. Yeah, I want to pull this up here. Because if they're it is interesting to me that they're selling it wholesale, or they're selling at the same price that you would get at a provider. I don't think it used to be that way. I think you used to have to pay more if you bought it straight from Apple. Is that right?
Well, it's because this was years ago, though, because
Yeah.
technically, right beforehand, providers were actually just creating massive discounts. They would essentially take on most of the price of the phone.
Yeah.
And so it made no sense for you to buy it directly from the manufacturer because you're going to be incurring such a high cost. Um, but technically, right, um, nowadays it's the same thing. It's just phone carriers have stopped doing that. They've stopped subsidizing how much it was to get a phone.
Yeah. Well, I got off track of what I was trying to explain earlier. You know, you don't need a satellite phone. You don't need a GPS. In theory, with this very extended battery life and this, really, it's an updated gyro sensor that would detect if you're in a crash.
Hmm.
In theory, you could have an app that would run in background. You know, someone could develop an app that you could download,
Hmm.
run in background, and when that gyro sensor is um, activated, it would record, you know,
Yep.
or even go back and record what had already happened. And you could use it as a dash cam for your car, right?
Hmm.
Um, in fact, I'm sure there's already an app for that. I'm sure there is. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think that I just don't think they've exploited the marketing like they should lately. I really don't. So it's no
No, no,
surprise you mentioned that their sales were down, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say I think they're exploiting the people that they want, right? Because yes, their sales are down. You're correct. The estimated sales that they were hoping for uh, has been, I think, almost drastically different than what they are actually getting. And I think it is because a lot of this, right, is because if you really look at it, right, if you look at the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 13, they're pretty much the exact same. It's just small changes, um,
Yeah.
as well as the iPhone 14 Pro. Um, it's pretty much the exact same. And so I think a lot of customers, right, just don't find the need for it. And there's just not enough buzz features for people to feel like they want to jump on it. But at the same time, though, this is the regular Apple way. They've just labeled it differently. Because think about
Yeah.
it, this would be essentially the equivalent of the S series
Oh yeah.
of that because you get a newish redesign with the newest redesign was the iPhone 13, um, and then uh, they moved over now to the iPhone 14, but it's essentially the S version they just relabeled. So I think that's what we're really seeing, and that's also the reason why there's a dip in sales. Um, but the reason why I was going back to what I was talking about before, where I said I think they're marketing to the right generation, technically, right? They are, like you said, they're marketing to the younger generation. Um,
Yeah.
and no more does that reflect than the this the green bubble versus blue bubble type of argument, right? For people in our age brackets, it really doesn't matter that much, at least not to a huge extent. But I have been hearing more reports of kids who are in high school, right, having issues because uh, Apple has infiltrated the younger market in such a high degree. I think I saw a statistics that was saying like something closer to like 80% of teens have iPhones,
Wow.
right? And so if you've got 80% of that market, which they know, every brand knows that if you can grab a young person, if you can grab a young person, they will pretty much stay brand loyal to you for the rest of their life, for the
Yeah.
most part, as long as you don't really have a lot of big hiccups. So they're marketing to the right people. They know. Apparently, your bottle is more interesting than your face. But
I was trying
um,
to laugh.
but yeah, so I think that that's what they're going for, and that's just kind of that's where the cookie crumbles for them.
Well, I think yeah, that is obviously the key. it's interesting because it still gives off that air of prestige, I guess. You know what? Here's the thing. I think when we were in high school, like the iPhone did give off an air of prestige. Now I feel like because you'd see like famous people flexing they had an iPhone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now I think it's like kind of conformity. you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily one over the other. But um, we've talked about this many times. I do love the iPhone, and I also am wrapped up in the ecosystem. So of course I'm not going to switch at this point. It's years of data and uh, workflow and all that kind of stuff I've built up within that.
Yeah.
So anyway, um, I am looking at this, and we can switch over to the operating system.
Mm-hmm.
So the Pro and the Pro Max is only $100 difference, and I feel like when I got my iPhone 11, the difference in price between the Pro and Pro Max was greater than that. I could be wrong, but I thought it was. Um,
I think you're right. I think there was a difference there, a bigger
yeah,
price difference, but I
I did.
can't
Yeah,
be too
that
sure.
was $300 or $400. I thought. I'm not sure, but um, with that said, main difference, there's others, but the main difference between the two is a 6 more hours of video playback battery life, which I guess would mean if you're not playing back video, it could go like 2 days without a charge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then a 0.6 inch greater display, bigger display, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you talk about, we're talking a 6 inch display total, 6.1 inch display total. I mean, that's a big percentage difference. You know what I mean? So, when you move it up to 6.7, would you, to me, like for $100 difference, I would probably get the Pro Max, bro. My stigmatism in my right eye make it easier for me to read everything.
I mean, if you're going between the two, yeah, sure. I would go with the Pro Max. I'd go with the Pro Max because I like bigger phones in general. So that's probably my biggest thing. Um, uh, but at the same time, like it's still an expensive phone. But I guess the other thing that you do want to note though is that um, that's the starting price.
Okay.
So your starting price is, for the Pro Max, right? That's going to be that $199, I think, or sorry,
Sure.
$1,099. But it
Yeah.
goes up with your storage.
Yeah.
So, if you want the top end of storage, which is a terabyte,
Right. Right.
crazy enough, right?
Yep.
You're looking at a price of 1,500. Actually, no,
It's a good point.
16.
It's a great point.
So,
I think that's why I got the iPhone 11 instead of the Pro. I think I was initially talking to the Pro, or how did this work? I don't remember. I remember I had to go back and swap out the phones because they kind of screwed me. I got like $300 off the 11 versus what it was supposed to be, or something
mhm,
like that. I forget what it was supposed to. I don't remember, but I do remember that I was leaving and I'd gotten the iPhone 11 Pro and I was like, this doesn't feel right. And I was like, I could have gotten with the rebate plan that they had an iPhone 11 with, the middle tier of storage for the same price.
mhm,
And, and I did. I went back and they absolutely did not have to do that, but they did. Anyway, I'm trying to remember what I got. I think I got. Let me see if I can pull it up here real fast.
okay.
Yeah, I got
So we can jump
128
over to
gigabytes.
the okay, which is not bad. I think that's plenty, to be honest.
It is plenty. I'm actually surprised to note though that I have used 114 of it.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, I would have to imagine, but see, I upload the high res files to iCloud to help save space.
Okay.
for photos, but I would have to imagine that most of this is oh yeah, I need to I need to clear out some downloads. And then yeah, most of it, man. Oh, iPhone or Google Drive is storing data on my phone. That's annoying. Um,
Interesting.
don't know why that's doing that. I really should have gone through this, but yeah, I would have to imagine it's a lot of my photos. You know.
Most likely. Most likely. That's the same with my phone. Uh, I've got a lot of storage. A lot of my storage goes towards the actual photos and videos. So
Sure. I would love to know how to fix this crap because photos actually, yeah, with me uploading those high res files only takes up 2.2 gigabytes. Not bad.
mm-hmm.
But why TikTok is taking up over 7 gigabytes of my space
That's crazy.
on documents and data? Man, that app is so sketchy, man.
Hey man, they're grabbing all the stuff from you, man.
That and the other sketchiest app, Twitter.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's
3 gigabytes
three
of documents.
gigs. That's
And you know what
crazy.
the funny thing is? I use those two apps the least.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
But that sounds about right.
I don't know, man. That's sketchy. Video captions. I can delete that app. Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway,
But let's
let's.
jump over to the iOS 16.
Man, I was just you took the words right out of my mouth, man.
See, there we go.
I know. But see, this is the thing, though. You know, there's so that you. It's easy to overlook these simple things that you have to go and fix.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's talk about this. So I'm gonna start off
Mm-hmm.
with one thing that really grinds my gears, you might say.
Uh-oh.
This new home screen, dude. I hate it.
You don't
I
like the lock screen?
I hate it.
You can customize it though.
I get that, but I get so many notifications, and I would say about 40% of them are work related. That's enough to
Mhm.
make it worthwhile. But they all go down at the bottom, you know? They
Yeah,
all go
well,
down,
you know, they
and
want you
so
to see your background.
right. But then what I have to do is like go here, or I have to scroll up, whatever. But if it's not that, see, I changed that in my settings.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So to make it more like the list view, but it starts at the bottom and then it's there. Um, and so yeah, then you have to move it up from there. And yeah, it's kind of a but what it will normally do is stack on top of itself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so uh, you have to tap it, and then it will open up the rest of your notifications. It's annoying.
Okay. Yeah, that is. But
Um,
I'm sure there's some more changes that you can kind of do in there.
there are, yeah, I have to play with it. Um, but yes, very frustrating for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
But that man, I really, the other things that I've noticed are the iMessaging updates.
Yeah, yeah.
You can edit a text, you can unsend a text. Um, you know, I don't really know why you would do that.
What,
Um,
edit or unsend?
editing makes sense, rather than sending a separate text correcting your mistake. You can just edit it within that.
Mm-hmm.
Unsending, I don't really get that. I mean, you get a notification each time. So I can see if somebody else edits their text. I can see if they unsend a text. Of course, it's only iOS 16 to iOS 16. You can't do it.
Well, yeah.
um, well, you
You're out of
can.
luck if you send it to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't really see what the point of that would be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the big point of it is if you accidentally send message to the wrong person, right? I
Right.
think I feel like everybody has probably been there at least at one point in their life. that they've
like that.
sent a text to the wrong person, and so
Yes.
you kind of get that opportunity to kind of or take that back. Yes, someone if someone's quick, right, they'll be able to see the message and go through all that process. But for the most part, I think a lot of people would really enjoy that possibility. It just kind of goes, it falls in line with the editing of the text. That's
Yeah.
just the deal.
So, okay. So I just figured out how to customize the lock screen, though. This is another big thing for the.
Oh, see, there you go.
So you hold the lock screen, boom.
Hmm.
I could have multiple different types of lock screens throughout the day. Don't know why I would do that. Maybe a work mode and then a play mode. Who knows?
Yeah,
Work
there you
hard,
go.
play hard. Right, but I
Yeah,
can hit
feeling
customize
good.
and I can add uh
Hmm.
new wallpaper, um, add widgets.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Now I want to play with that. I didn't know it was that simple to
Yeah,
access that.
man.
Honestly, man, the first thing I'm gonna do after we get done here is clear out clear out all that data taking up space on my phone.
Yeah,
Um,
there you go.
but this is cool though. New wallpaper, you can do a whole photo shuffle. I love that. I thought that
Hmm.
that needed to be a thing for a while.
That is
Um,
pretty nice.
you can do certain people, emojis, weather. But I love this. It has suggested photos. Some of my best scenic pics I've ever taken right here.
Hey, there you go.
It's really cool.
That's
So,
cool.
whoa, dude, this is from when we went to Seattle, I think.
Probably. Oh yeah,
Uh,
that was Seattle. That
yeah,
was awesome.
it's cool. So, anyway, I love that. I mean, that's amazing. That's the AI working like it should.
Yeah.
So, is this thing in focus? There we go. Okay. Um, so that's cool. It's easy to customize the lock screen. Basically, Apple notes this in three different ways, even though it's kind of all the same thing, right?
Hmm.
Um, but you can basically make it look your own. Now, multi-layered photo effect. Photo subjects are dynamically displayed in front of the time to make the subject of the photo pop. So, uh, yeah, it would depend on if I did this right. But I think if I like, let's try this real quick, okay?
Hmm.
So let's go people. Um, Here we go. New pick of me. I love this pick. We'll
Oh
make
yeah.
this one. So it's interesting. You can do different effects on it. Studio,
Ooh.
black and white, color backdrop, all these different effects. To be
Okay.
honest with you, I don't see it popping up in front of the time. Not that that's a big deal. I just am trying to figure out what they're talking about with that. Um, yeah, it has a depth effect. I don't really know what that's supposed to do. There's a lot to play with here, but these are all kind of fun things.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. I want to keep it moving.
Which gives you a
Uh,
really nice opportunity to kind of play around and stuff.
yeah, photo shuffle, like we said. Photo styles, apply styles to photos on the lock screen that automatically change, like I was just doing there. Widgets on the
Hmm.
lock screen would have to play with that, but I'm sure there's a lot of great ones. Widget Kit API.
Hmm.
What does that mean? Glance at
That.
widgets from
Oh,
your
go ahead.
favorite third-party apps, right?
Hmm. Exactly. It gives the opportunity for other third parties to be able to integrate their applications and stuff into your lock screen,
Yeah.
which is
Live
pretty neat.
activities can help you stay on top of things that are happening in real time, like
Hmm.
sports or news. Um, Lock screens made for focus. It's a lot of this is with the lock screen, dude. It's kind of
Yes.
wild.
Yes. The
Um,
lock screen was probably one of the biggest updates that they did. Uh, that kind of, I would say, at least the ones that people notice the most, right?
yeah, I do love how easy it is to edit it. Now I do love this too.
Hmm.
This this is something that was great that I loved on earlier iOS, and they took it away from me. But if I play this, I'm gonna turn the volume down so we don't get copyright strike. But
Yeah, exactly.
playing some Stone Temple Pilots, Boom. Here's the lock screen. Big O album
Yep.
cover right there. The background changes to fit the vibe. I love that. That is so cool. That's like old school iPod, actually, is what that used to look like. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think
Again,
that's
Android, we've been having that, but you guys got
well.
to keep up.
I just think it's funny that it was all based around music, and then like they made it when you would hit play, just barely be able to see the album cover. It's so small, you know. And I'm like,
Hmm.
man, what the heck? So, yeah, new notification color or design, sorry, notification animations. Now roll in from the bottom of your lock screen, making them easy to see at a glance as they come in. I disagree. If they came in from the top, they'd be easier to see.
True.
Um, so yeah, focus. Let's see. iCloud shared photo library is coming later this year. So share a photo library with your family. I feel like you can already do that. I know you can do it with Google Photos.
Yeah.
um, let's see. So let's go to messages real fast
Mm-hmm. Because
because
that's where
there's
the next big thing is. Yeah, like you were
yeah,
talking about.
there's so much that we could talk about. But
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about messages. Edit a message. You can edit a message for up to 15 minutes after sending it. It's cool. But they'll be able to see the record of it. Unsend any message for up to 2 minutes after seeing it, which
Mm-hmm.
it makes you wonder if they show a record of that, what difference does it make? Why is there a time limit?
Well, it makes a record of it saying that there was a message here, and then someone rescinded it.
Yeah,
Um, it depending on what's in that message, it may be better off just to leave the message or leave the record than to actually leave the message.
yeah.
So
Um,
that's why.
you can mark messages as unread when you don't have time to respond, but want to reply later. I feel like you could already do that.
I feel like
Um,
so too, but um,
yeah. Recover recently deleted messages. That's good. I like
mhm,
that. Share play via messages, share synchronized activities like movies, music, workouts, games, and more with friends while chatting in messages. That's cool.
mhm.
You could do that already over FaceTime, not in text, which is really cool.
Exactly. So it's cool that they're allowing you to do that now.
Yeah. Shared with you API so third parties can get involved. Um, like TikTok. I know TikTok has that
Yeah.
ability. Um, Collaboration invitations. Send an invitation to collaborate on a project in messages, and everyone in the thread will automatically be added to the document, spreadsheet, or project compatible with files, keynote numbers, pages, notes, reminders, and Safari. So this is kind of a take on Microsoft Teams,
Mhm.
certain abilities in there.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, these are interesting, man. You have to go through it. Fast forward to rewind audio messages as you listen. You could already do that. You just had to hold it and open it, and it would show up as an audio file, and you could go anywhere you wanted to in there.
Mhm.
But now they just make it easier to do it without doing that. Um, Filter conversations and messages by individual SIM. What does that mean?
So some people have dual SIMs, and if the iPhone knows that you're switching between two different SIM cards, so two
Oh,
different carriers, it'll split it up instead of it being all in one, kind of mushed together. So
nice.
that's what
That's
that'll
cool.
do. Hmm.
This is a big one for all you Android users out there. Now I can laugh at your text messages, and you'll get an emoji. You won't get a message that says John laughed at, and then that text message in quotations. You'll
Yeah,
get a
exactly. You get an
corresponding
emoji.
emoji, which is
Now,
really
now to preface this, right, there should be an asterisk here. Google Messages actually implemented this feature themselves before Apple did. They did this because Apple again doesn't play ball. Uh, and the biggest thing is that this kind of goes back into kind of what I was talking about earlier is that Apple doesn't turn on RCS, which is the newest messaging standard outside of SMS. Right,
sure.
RCS has a lot of the security features and some of the neat features that iMessage has. And if Apple would turn that on, right, it would make it so much easier and also safer when it comes to Android devices being able to communicate with Apple users.
Hmm.
Um, because you get that actual stream communication there.
Yeah.
So and then they wouldn't have to create these weird, half measures that are
Right.
created in
No,
your
I agree.
image. So
I completely agree. Um, yeah, these are kind of some of the things. I mean, this is just tip of the iceberg. You could literally spend a few hours reading all of this. There's even an Apple Pay Later. Split the cost of your Apple Pay Later purchase into 4 payments over 6 weeks. That's amazing.
mm-hmm,
Um, yeah, there's all multi-stay hotel keys.
mm-hmm.
That's incredible. So yeah, there's so many um just different features. Like I said, you could spend over an hour just reading this.
Oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, even the privacy updates, all that kind of stuff. So man, was there anything else you wanted to touch on with iOS 16? Um, to me,
No,
this seems like the bigger thing than the new phone. You know what I mean?
yeah. No,
Wait,
I think so
what'd you
too.
say?
I just said I was like, yeah, it's not 14. But
Right, right.
I would say, yeah, no, I think you're right. I think most of this, I think one of the bigger things that really makes the iPhone 14 kind of stand out is really the software. And all of that's coming packed in with iOS 16. But since iOS 16 is going out to all phones, it does make iOS the newest phone model a little bit less bright
Yeah,
compared to all of the amazing features that are coming into the newest version of iOS.
totally agree. I do imagine though that my frustrations with this notifications would look completely different on the new phone. I know that happens every
Probably.
time. Every time I've gotten frustrated with the iOS in the context of the new phone, for some reason, it just works better on there, and you're like, oh, I get it now. you know,
Hmm. It's that
so
upgrade path.
it is, dude. Yep, it's a manipulation tactic too. So, um, all right, man. Well, I think we had a good discussion on this. We talked
Yeah,
a
I
lot
think
about a
so.
lot of things. So, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for watching. I'm sure we'll have more to come on these topics in the future. But for now, this has been great. Remember to like, rate, subscribe, follow us on our social media accounts, and support the show financially if you want to. All of that is linked in the description of this episode. And yes, we really appreciate you. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch up with you next week.